Hey guys, we're back. This time we're taking a look at the Call of the Void expansion for the second edition of Mothership. And this was a brand new one that came out with the second edition that allows you to add distress beacons to your game and a whole new mechanics that go around those, as well as the neutron stars, black holes, and some other things. And we'll get right in and take a look. So first we have our little rule book for the expansion. It is 12 pages. First page is the overview of what's in here. We have a section on neutron stars, and neutron stars are kind of cool. They have the amount of damage you take if you're near them. At the same time, they also knock out your shields. So they're good for your smaller ships, not so good for your mothership. On the flip side of those, we have black holes. And black holes are a very interesting aspect to the game. They kind of suck you in, so if you're nearby, they'll pull you into them. And you have to watch out for them because you have to roll on this chart. And you have a 1 in 2 chance on a D12 of getting teleported somewhere. And you can go anywhere you want on the entire board, which is awesome. And then the other alternative is that the number rolled is how much damage you take, which means fighters and bombers and things are pretty much immediately destroyed, and your mothership takes a beating, possibly. And there's other rules that go with those as well. The big thing for this expansion, though, are the distress beacons. And they're little tokens like this that you see placed on the board, and they have a ship icon on them. You have to land that kind of ship on that tile, then you get a chance to explore the beacon. Some of them have padlocks like this. Basically, once all of the face-up ones are removed from the board, then the padlock ones flip over and become active. I think you start with twice as many beacons as there are players. And then your beacon cards here each have basically a little story at the top, a requirement, and then options. Sometimes you don't get an option, like in this case you need to roll a die. Depending on what you roll is which option you have to choose. Other ones, the options are based on power levels of your ship, the type of ship that's exploring it, if you have certain requirements, if you have certain resources to give up, and things like that. They're all different, and they add a little story aspect to the game, which is kind of neat. And finally here we have the new objectives, and this is a totally new thing for this expansion, and I love the way that it fits in. They also do require that you play with artifacts in order to use these. And there's a couple different ways to play. One of them where everybody has a secret objective. You end up with 2 objective cards, and they're random. And the goal is to complete whatever it is here at the top, and then you get one of these 2 rewards down here. And if, for say, one of the rewards comes up as something like influence, and you're not playing with influence, then you can just not choose that reward, or just not get the influence part of it. Same goes for the victory points. They're worth victory points up here. If you're not playing a victory point game, then you just ignore that. The other way is to play with face-up ones as like a community pile, and everybody's racing to achieve those. Another one that we like to do that's not actually in the book is to give everybody a secret objective. You only get 1 instead of 2 like you normally would, and do the global one. And that way everybody has something secret they're working on for some bonuses, but at the same time you can also race for those, so you get the best of both, I think. Then there's a section on the rewards that they give you. And in the back, there's a list of all the new cards that require specific expansions. So if you're using the Hidden Power Distress Beacon, you have to have a neutron star or black hole in place. So if you're not using those, you can go through and pull that one out, or like we do, you just leave it in, and if that gets drawn and those aren't in play, you just draw another one. But it's very nice that they let these in there so you know which things are required for which cards. And that way you know what to remove if you're playing without a specific module. So we have 2 tokens for our neutron stars, and on the flip side of them they have black holes. These are pretty cool. I didn't get to play test with these too much. They weren't in the prototype that I got. This was something new that was added like last minute. Seem very cool, and I'm eager to actually get to try them, both of them. Here we have our beacon tokens, and you can see they have the padlock on one side and the ship type on the other. You're going to draw twice as many of these as there are players in your game. Space them out evenly around the board. Half of them are going to be locked, half of them are going to be open. And as I said, you need to get the type of ship that's indicated on the icon to that space in order to activate it and draw the beacon card. Then we have another set of mini cards now, and these ones are our objective cards, and there is quite a few of them here. So if you're playing a normal, 4-player game or so, these are going to last you quite a while. And there is a way to discard one if you have one that you don't like. Spend some resources to draw another one. So you can't get stuck with one you don't like. But as I was saying at the top here, they have what your objective is, and then down here is your reward for victory points, and then your 2 optional rewards you get to choose from. Bunch of different ones here, all different and all pretty self-explanatory. You can tell by reading the description. I love you tried. And a nice little addition to the game to add something just a little bit more to do. And then finally we have our beacon cards, and these are tarot size cards. They're quite a bit bigger than your standard card sizes, a little bit taller, and there is a massive amount of these, and they all have different stories. The chances of you going through all of these are pretty slim. It's going to take quite a few games. So we played multiple times, and I think only once has one ever come up more than once to keep them shuffled up good. And every one of them has a nifty story that goes along with it. And let's see if we can find one with some options here. So when you draw a card, you got this top part here. This is your story about what's going on. And then you have 2 options. And in this case, option 1 requires your mothership and 5 or more energy in your shields. So if you've lost your mothership for any reason, or you don't have 5 shields in there, you can't even choose that option, and you have to pick this option. And depending on what you do, you can look at the rewards too, and the reward here is a repair to your mothership's hull and some minerals versus some gas and a victory point. So you get to choose what you want, and then there's more text that goes with your choice to explain what happens. And there is a ton of different ones in here, and a lot of them have references to like famous sci-fi or things that you'll probably pick up on if you're a fan of the genre. Overall, I've said before, I love the modular nature of Mothership, the fact that you can customize the game by choosing to use or not to use any number of different modules that kind of plug in, and little abilities like the black hole and neutron star, the objective cards, the beacons. You can play with any or all of those in your game. You can play with a bunch of the stuff from the Into the Vortex expansion. There's even a bunch of optional rules in the core game, like planetary development and influence and things like that. So you can make the game as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. It can be just a quick shoot 'em up game for deathmatch till the death, last man standing, or you could play a drawn out strategy game with respawn to a set victory point level. There's all different kinds of ways to play the game. Expansions like this just add more variety and more optional rules in there. I do love the beacon cards. I think they add a whole new angle to the game where you've got that story-driven part of it now. And they're just a cool addition. It is kind of annoying trying to get to the little tokens and get the right ship to those tokens sometimes, depending on where they end up on the battlefield. And you might miss out on one, and that's kind of disappointing, but I try as hard as I can to get the ones that are nearby, and just love the variety that's in the deck. And hopefully they can add some more things similar to this, or that kind of thing, to add more story to the game as well. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for our look at the Call of the Void expansion for Mothership. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.